Hey, what's up guys? Thanks as always for stopping by the channel. Let's dive into Artemis Fowl. It's now streaming on Disney Plus from director Kenneth Branagh. This one stars Josh Gad, Judi Dench, Colin Farrell, Lara Mcdonald, and Ferdia Shaw as Artemis Fowl. It's based on the series of books written by Ian Colfer, and it centers on this kid who discovers a secret world of fairies and other fantastical creatures when he goes in search for his kidnapped and missing father. So let's dive into what this adventure delivers. Now, I'll preface this review by saying I'm unfamiliar with the book, so I'm not going to be comparing this movie on its faithfulness to the source material. I simply went into this movie looking to see what it could deliver in terms of overall adventure on the big screen, and pretty much that alone. Now, to be honest, fantasy is not one of my favorite genres. This movie also is aimed for kids, so I wasn't expecting a character study or immensely thought-provoking story layers, but I did go in with an open mind, wanting to have some fun. I also know that very often film adaptations of book series can often be very rushed, as they tend to grab bits from the various novels to complete their cinematic storyline. It happens so frequently that it's gotten to be kind of the norm for me, in particular with YA novels, and this movie really felt no different. It was a fast-paced film, and despite its shortcomings in character motivation and story development, I had a good time with it from a purely entertainment aspect. Now, it certainly could have been a better movie. It does seem to rush through its 3 acts pretty quickly. The world of this story felt, to me, extremely rich with a lot of fantastical intrigue, which admittedly is really only conveyed visually. The bulk of this storyline itself is very exposition heavy. As the viewer, you were more or less blatantly told what you need to know. This does create a feeling of tunnel vision as far as information delivery in what could have otherwise been a spectacular backdrop. I wanted a lot more to be explored. I wanted to learn more about this world of fairies living in the underground world, and I didn't really get to feel that. However, at the same time, the target audience for this one clearly is a lot younger than me. I think maybe adding this story development could have resulted in kids who are connected to vibrant characters and just big action set pieces to potentially just mentally check out of the movie. I felt that from the perspective of a kid, this movie delivered charismatic characters, a digestible storyline that could be easily followed, and tons of bold, energized action sequences loaded with a lot of striking digital effects, which will keep them entertained. From the perspective of an adult, it was a surface-level fantasy sci-fi adventure, but still something that can hold your attention if you're sitting back and watching this movie with your kids. The characters, they're a bit superficial. The dialogue is very explanation-filled. It's blatant at times. It's heavy-handed in places. The relationships between the characters don't feel extremely genuine either, and the progression of the story does feel like the express version of a tale that was much more large and ambitious and intriguing. It definitely does feel like a live-action cartoon, but maybe that was the point. I went into this movie knowing it wasn't made for me. I sat back with an open mind, and I had fun with the world it pulled me into, despite wanting to see more exploration at times. The runtime is short, possibly too short, which does come at the cost of some continuity in places. It also hinders getting to know these characters, but for me, it wasn't much of a hindrance, and it didn't really pull me out of the film. As for the cast performances, they all worked enough, I would say. There wasn't a lot of depth to the characters on the writing side, so the older cast, such as Farrell and Dench and Gad, they do tend to rely on their screen presence alone. Nonzo Anozie was really fun as the protector of Artemis. I enjoyed the friendship they had together, despite it being a highly routine dynamic between characters that we've seen done before. I think Anozie still was able to capture a genuine chemistry with Shaw that I really enjoyed watching throughout the film. Lara Mcdonald was also able to make an impression with the thin character on the writing side. Despite not knowing much about this character, I think her energy and the wide-eyed charisma in her performance created a likable character. I think Ferdia Shaw was solid in the lead as Artemis. I thought his performance was able to hit all the emotional beats of the character arc. There was a charm to his arrogance. He felt like the intelligent kid that he was portraying, but he still was able to kind of feel like a kid when the movie needed him to, which I liked. Although I do think that both Mcdonald and Shaw could have really brought much more to their roles had the material given them the opportunity to do so.
I didn't read much on trolls. Anything I should look out for?
The teeth. They eat people.
Good to know.
So in the end, I had some fun with this movie. It wasn't all bad. Artemis Fowl is going to get 60% on the meter. I enjoyed it for what it was. The special effects, for the most part, were nicely done. It visually captures a very appealing, fantastical world, but the story doesn't explore it to its advantage. I think the story could have been much more layered, and it still would have connected to younger audiences. I feel the performances were really poised to deliver the film a collection of interesting characters, but the pacing never felt like it wanted to take the time to let that happen. It set out to be a fast-paced, wild adventure, and it certainly was, but it could have been a better movie overall with a little more patience put into developing what should have been a very intriguing narrative. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. I'd love to talk movies with you guys. Share it with your friends, and without question, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can never miss a video. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. All my social media links and the link to our official website are down in the description below, and I'll catch you next time.